Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Julia Polston. I'm the Manager of Talent Development at ICI. And today I have the honor of meeting with the president of Don Smock Auction Company, Nick Smock. Thank you so much for joining me today, Nick.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just go ahead and dive into the questions. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your position and how long you've been with the company.
Well, it'll be my pleasure. I am obviously Nick Smock. I'm a second generation auctioneer. My father started it in 1991. We've traveled all over the eastern coast from the Mississippi east. The last 20 years, we've spent a lot of time in the Midwest to concentrate on the heavy construction auctions. So you see everything behind me is what I love to sell. The Indiana Construction Association is perfect for my cup of tea. I've been in this almost 20 years. Well, I guess 20 years. And then if you include high school and elementary school and all the grunt jobs I got back when I was younger. So it's been a fun ride. It's the construction industry is so unique, and the sales side of it's very challenging.
But I feel like a lot of people who aren't in the industry don't really think about where those pieces of equipment come from. If you want to kind of dig a little deeper into specifically what Don Smock Auction Company does to kind of let people who are outside of the industry know a little bit more what you guys do.
There's really two categories that I handle. It'd be a guy that's selling a couple machines to upgrade, or a guy that's needed to turn some capital for the winter. And then we also have guys that are retiring or have the unfortunate situation that they need to go out of business for financial reasons or a divorce or whatever. I call that the problem solving side, where we can solve that problem, get all their items sold in one day and they can move on to a new chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And we enjoy challenging our customers to not always trade their machines in, but also to give us a call. There's a good chance that our industry can get them more buyers and make that challenge, that bidding challenge. So you have not just one person, you have a guy from Indiana, a guy from Wisconsin, a guy from Canada, all fighting over that one machine. That would be the two categories. And then of course, we assist our clients in equipment appraisals too. So if they're needing to do financing, we can give them a certified appraisal to help out with estate planning or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's so unique. I know with the title president, that differs depending on what company you work for in the industry, but tell us about being president at Don Smock Auction Company, what exactly that means.
Well, not to give away my age, but I remember 10 years ago, I couldn't wait to become president. I thought it was the thing that I needed to be. I realized several years later, it's a lot tougher than it looked. I think my dad did a good job hiding it. But, like any business, you got to have somebody that puts the hammer down, I guess. But I truly enjoy everything I do every day. If it's the marketing aspect of figuring out how to market a particular auction or a particular machine, how do I draw in the right buyer? Sales assistance, my opinion of sales is becoming someone's friend. I don't want just to be that once a year call. I want my customers to call me and ask me how my kids are doing. And I want to know my kid, their kids' names. And, honestly, you want to create that friendship so that, all they think about is Don Smock Auction.
Yeah.
And you want to make it so that if they're thinking auction, they feel guilty not to call me, and then of course the logistics of an auction is, so many people think it's just a guy talking fast. You see all the machines behind me. It takes us a month to set up our 4 quarterly auctions, and it takes a month before that to get all the consignments and the pictures and the descriptions. And, then when we have an offsite auction at somebody's location, it's okay, how many guys do I need there? How many signs, how many auctioneers, and what the customer needs is, I love logistics, and my staff sometimes thinks I may be a little bit crazy, but it's a lot of fun. And of course that leads into scheduling, and, part of my job is figuring out where everybody goes. And my favorite thing is supervising, supervise and let my team do what they're best at. And then I get to take all the credit, but I get to brag about them as well. So, I guess as a president in a small company of 16 people, we do whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
I love being on the ground, getting dirty with my team. I love being always available. We became very layered over the last several years, where not as much gets to me, which is nice, but I
Mhm.
also like to be there for my customers and my team. So, a normal day there's really no normal day as a
Yeah.
president on Smock Auction. So,
No, that's great that you're able to kind of have your hands in everything, but not in a way where it's like micromanaging. It's you have your hands in everything because you guys are such a small team that you
yeah.
work as a team every day with everything that you guys do. Can you think of a time when you were younger when you just knew that what you do now is what you wanted to do in your adult life?
Honestly, I mean, I remember when I was 8 years old, my job was parking cars. This scrawny little kid parking cars. And, dad always gave me certain, can't park here, you need to park them this way versus this way, we can get more people in.
Hmm.
And just that energy of making it work. So all the way back to being a child, I love people. I'm very outgoing. Being around people and helping them, it's kind of like an addiction. I mean, every employee I've ever had, when they came to work for us, they've had a hard time getting out of the auction industry. So just I tell people, you go buy a car, you can make that decision over a couple days.
Yeah.
You come buy something for me of 90 seconds.
That,
Think of that adrenaline rush. I get that
yeah.
40 auctions a year, and I have that
Mhm.
adrenaline all day long. And I love going up and patting a guy on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you are out. Bid one more time, just one more time. It's only money. Let's have some fun."
Yeah.
And it just that energy and I mean, I felt that as a kid.
Mhm.
I remember being that kid, being a ticket runner, watching the auctioneer over there just selling away. Go, man, this is so cool.
No, and
So
I love as a kid that your dad actually allowed you to be a part of the company, even if it was just like a little bit, and maybe it didn't really seem like a big part to him, but to you, you're like, wow, this is like the coolest thing ever. So he really gave you the opportunity and introduced you to it. So you kind of got to see it all the way through your childhood, which definitely you embraced it. And I think it worked out pretty well for you.
well, I mean, it's a pleasure to fulfill his legacy too. So
Yeah.
I think I've lost that fear. I used to
Mhm.
live in fear the first few years that he gave me the reins, that I was going to screw up the legacy because, I mean, my job is to sell people out. And
Mhm.
you go out of business a second or third generation, they call me. And um, sometimes it's actually an honor to say, hey, I had an auction for so and I worked with your dad for 20 years.
Mhm.
And so you take an honor piece into that. And, now I've got a 10-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter. And, every auction, my wife will bring the kids out of school and they ride around in a golf cart, pass out waters.
Oh, I
And,
love that.
and they love it. They want to be here. My 10-year-old is now where she can, pay attention and sit still. And she loves to sit next to the auctioneer and write down what the buyer number is and how much.
Oh, that's
And
great.
yeah, so I'm trying to be that same father.
Can you think of what would be your most rewarding part of your job? And I know you've mentioned a bunch of things that you love about your job.
Mhm.
But is there anything that sticks out that you would say is the most rewarding part of it?
I'd say the people and the relationships.
Hmm.
When I was just having kids, the anxiety of running a business. I mean, when I turned 30, I became the president. I had my first child. It was quite the adjustment, and I believed in being the first one here, the last one to leave. I believed in always taking every phone call. And I was able to reach out to some of our industry leaders and say, hey, how do you deal with this?
Yeah.
I want to be there for my kids. I don't want to be an absent parent. And having just being able to call somebody and ask, some guys don't know what my business model is, but I can call them and say, hey, I'm struggling. What would you do?
Hmm.
Some guys, you just call them and say, hey, I had a hell of an auction today.
As president at Don Smock Auction Company, what would you say is the number one skill set that you have to succeed in your role there?
Honestly, I would say it's probably passion.
Hmm.
um, wanting to get up and want to be there for your people, for your staff, for your customers. I'd say that's the number one thing is I have the passion is there.
Hmm.
Wanting to make your own people succeed, and then also I wrote a note here. It says under promise and over deliver. You
Yeah.
know, that is satisfying every day. So going in with passion, with anything you do, if you don't have passion, there's no reason to be there. So I'd say
Hmm.
that's probably my biggest word. I'd say is have passion with what you're doing every day.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your career journey, kind of where you started and how you got today?
Sure. I mean, like I said, I started out with all the grunt work when I was younger,
Hmm.
running tickets for the auctioneer, parking, whatever was needed back then. I graduated high school on a Sunday night. I met my wife that Sunday night after graduation. I was actually late my first day of work, which I thought work started at 8. I showed up at 7:30. My dad said I was late for coffee, which started at 6:30.
Oh.
So either way, but I met the girl of my dreams that night, and so I started literally day after high school. Couldn't wait to get started.
Hmm.
So I was sales for 5, 6, 7 years. We just were in a growth spot. We needed more team. We needed more of a team, and I told Dad, I said, I'll do whatever you want. Let's rock and roll. So we bought some property here in Pendleton, and at that point we hired a sales team, and that's when I transitioned out of being a everyday salesperson
Hmm.
to supporting two guys that covered Indiana and Ohio and Michigan. And then I was in charge of Illinois, Wisconsin, and Kentucky, as well as supporting all the other guys and learning the administration.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, in my business, I've learned that some owners won't pass down the reins fast enough so that the son or the next generation, whatever it may be, learns how to do it on their own.
Hmm.
I was very fortunate that I had a dad that said, "Here, take over. You make the decision. You screw up, you screw up. Let's learn."
Hmm.
Um, so I jumped in my early 30s. There was actually my late 20s
Hmm.
with the sales and administration side. And once we got the right two guys in Indiana covering our customers the way we wanted to, and we had a guy in Ohio, and just kind of had the right team, I just found my way to the office and continued to try to push that out, which was an honor. He
Hmm.
sacrificed so much of his life. And then going from that into the big bad president spot, being able to enjoy watching us grow. I added a commercial real estate department. So we now sell commercial real estate by auction.
Is there any advice that you can think of that you would have given yourself that maybe would have helped you in your adult life now?
I would say my thought this morning was dig deeper, put your heels in, and give it your all. As a young person, you have the time to screw up. So dig in, make that investment into, if you're in the highway construction, get the education you need. The funny thing, I didn't go to college, but I emphasize education on the auction side. So,
Hmm.
the Indiana Auctioneer Association, the National Auctioneer Association, they have a ton of great education out there.
Hmm.
So I really dig into my industry education. I thought in my 20s, I don't need that. Well, guess what? It does help. And then the last thing is that I was taught by my father is have honesty and integrity. That is key. The auction industry, if you really look deep, everybody, all auction companies get the similar results. But at the end of the day, how do you want to walk away? I want to be known as a guy that was honest, the guy that had the integrity, that stands behind his name. That to me is worth more than any commission I can receive.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule today, Nick, for doing this with me, letting everyone know about your career path, how you became as successful as you are in our industry, and as well telling us all about Don Smock Auction Company and how you are just continuing your dad's legacy through all of your hard work. So I really appreciate your time today.
Well, it's an honor, and I hope that Indiana realizes we're the best in the business, and they call me. And being able to do this today was a true honor to get my face in front of everybody, and such a great organization like ICI. I've enjoyed the relationships I've been able to build from them, and the events are always great, and the camaraderie, and just the friendship. So I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.